Ji-hoon Kim stood in the center of the massive chamber. Around him, 847 alien beings watched in silence. Some had scales, others had fur, and a few looked like floating lights, but all of them stared at him with the same expression. Judgment. The chamber was built from crystal that changed colors. Right now it glowed red. That was never a good sign. Ji-hoon had been Earth's ambassador for 15 years. He had learned 43 alien languages. He had shared meals with creatures that breathed methane. He had negotiated trade deals and peace treaties. He thought he had built friendships here. He was wrong. The Arbiter stood at the highest point of the chamber. It was a Velthari, a species that looked like walking trees made of silver. Its voice echoed through the space without any visible mouth moving. "The Galactic Council has reached its decision," the Arbiter announced. "Humanity has been evaluated. The evidence has been reviewed. The vote has been counted." Ji-hoon felt his heart beat faster. He knew what was coming. The signs had been there for months. Closed doors. Cancelled meetings. Whispers in corridors. By a vote of 701 to 146, the Council has determined that humanity poses an unacceptable risk to galactic peace and prosperity. The words hung in the air like poison. Humanity is hereby banished from all galactic territories. Earth and its colonies must cease all interstellar activity. You have 50 Earth years to withdraw all human presence beyond your home star system. Any violation will be met with immediate military action. The chamber erupted in various sounds. Some aliens clicked their approval. Others hummed in what might have been sympathy. A few remained silent. Ji-hoon closed his eyes for a moment. He thought about Earth. He thought about the children growing up believing they were part of something bigger. He thought about the scientists who had dedicated their lives to learning from alien cultures. He thought about the dreams that were being crushed right now. Then he opened his eyes and smiled. The smile confused the aliens. They expected tears. They expected anger. They expected him to beg. Instead, Ji-hoon walked calmly to the speaking platform. "The Galactic Council has made its decision," he said, his voice steady. "Humanity accepts this verdict." Shocked whispers spread through the chamber. "We understand your fears," Ji-hoon continued. "You look at us and see violence. You see our history of wars. You see our aggressive expansion. You see danger." He paused and looked around the chamber. "You are not wrong to see these things, but you are wrong to think you can contain them by pushing us away." The Arbiter's lights flickered. "Are you threatening this council?" "No," Ji-hoon said simply. "I am just stating a fact. You believe banishment will make you safer. Time will tell if you are right." He bowed slightly, a gesture of respect that felt hollow now. "Humanity will comply with your decree. You will not see us again." With those words, Ji-hoon turned and walked out of the chamber. His footsteps echoed in the sudden silence. Outside the station, Captain Salmon Park waited aboard the Defiant Hope. Her ship was small compared to the alien vessels around it, but it was built with pride. Human engineering at its finest. Salmon watched the Council station through her viewport. She had served in Earth's diplomatic fleet for 10 years. She had seen humanity try so hard to fit in, to be accepted. To be respected, her console beeped. An encrypted message appeared. She read it once, then read it again to be sure. Protocol Exodus. Activate immediately. Her hands moved across the controls without hesitation. She had trained for this moment. They all had. Deep down, humanity always knew this day might come. "All hands," she announced to her crew. "Set course for the Sol system. Maximum speed. Execute Protocol Exodus." Her officers moved quickly. They had practiced this 1,000 times. Within minutes, the ship's engines roared to life. As the Defiant Hope pulled away from the station, other human ships did the same. 30 vessels all heading home. But Salmon knew something the aliens did not. These ships were just the visible ones. The ones meant to be seen leaving. Somewhere else far from here, other human ships were moving in different directions. Ships that no alien had ever seen. Ships that had been built in secret. Ships that were already exploring places the Galactic Council had never even looked. On Earth, Director Hyun-jae Kwan stood in a command center buried deep under New Seoul. Screens surrounded him, showing data from across the galaxy. He was a thin man with gray hair, but his eyes were sharp. A junior officer approached. "Director, the Council has delivered their verdict. Banishment, 50 years to withdraw." Hyun-jae nodded slowly. "As expected. Activate all protocols. Begin the exodus. Sir, some people are asking if we should try to appeal the decision. Hyunjae almost laughed. Appeal? No. We gave them 15 years to accept us. They chose fear instead. Now we choose freedom. He pulled up a star map on the main screen. It showed the known galaxy, all the systems controlled by the Council. Then he pressed a button and the map changed. New stars appeared. Hundreds of them. Systems that Earth had been secretly exploring for years. Systems rich with resources. Systems that the aliens had marked as worthless because their technology could not use them, but human technology could. The Council thinks they are punishing us, Hyunjae said quietly. They think they are protecting themselves. They don't realize they just gave us permission to take everything they were too afraid to claim. He turned to his officers. Send the signal. All colony ships are to depart within the week. All resource extraction teams are to double their operations. All research stations are to go dark. What about the aliens who might try to help us? Someone asked. Hyunjae shook his head. No contact. The Council has made its choice. We make ours. From this moment, humanity is silent. We are ghosts. And when we will return as something they never expected. What's that, sir? Stronger than them. Back in space, Jihoon's shuttle docked with the Defiant Hope. Salmon met him at the airlock. I heard your speech, she said. That smile at the end. That was cold. Jihoon looked tired now. The mask he had worn in the council chamber had fallen away. They wanted us to be small, he said. To be grateful for whatever scraps they threw us. I tried, Salmon. For 15 years, I tried to make them see us as equals. I know. They sealed their own fate today. They think they voted to banish us. What they really did was set us free. Salmon nodded. The Exodus ships are ready. 2,000 of them. All hidden, all prepared. And the new colonies? 6 are already established. The aliens don't even know those systems exist. Jihoon looked out at the stars. Somewhere out there, humanity's future was waiting. A future they would build themselves, take us home, he said. We have work to do. The Defiant Hope jumped to faster than light speed, leaving the council station behind. In the command center, Jihoon pulled up a classified file. It showed images of new worlds, green planets, rich asteroids, systems full of possibility. The aliens had called humanity dangerous. They had called them violent. They had called them unworthy. They were about to learn that the most dangerous thing they could have done was give humanity a reason to prove them right. 10 years had passed since the banishment. Director Hyunjae Kwan stood in his office, watching through reinforced glass as the last colony ship lifted off from Earth's surface. The new tomorrow was massive, carrying 50,000 people to a new life among the stars. It was the 2,000th ship to leave. The last one in the official Exodus plan. Hyunjae was older now. His hair had turned completely white, but his mind was sharper than ever. He had spent these 10 years making sure humanity did not just survive. He made sure they thrived. A young woman entered his office. Daeun Lee was the chief engineer of the terraforming initiative. She carried a data pad and looked excited. Director, the latest reports from New Busan are remarkable, she said. The terraforming is working even better than we predicted. The planet will be fully habitable in 3 years instead of 10. Hyunjae smiled. How did we improve the process? We took the Velthari terraforming technology and combined it with our own atmospheric processors. But the real breakthrough came from thinking differently. The aliens try to make planets like their own worlds. We figured out how to make planets better than Earth ever was. She pulled up images on her pad. The planet called New Busan was transforming. Oceans were forming. Clouds were gathering. Green was spreading across continents. The aliens spent centuries developing their terraforming, Hyunjae said. We did it better in 10 years. Because we had to, Daeun replied. They had the luxury of time. We had motivation. Across the solar system, Admiral Minho Choi stood on the bridge of his flagship. The ship had no name that appeared in any official records. It was part of the Shadow Fleet, vessels that existed only in classified files. Minho was a military man through and through. Square jaw, sharp eyes, and a mind that thought in terms of strategy and tactics. He had spent the last decade building a fleet in secret. Admiral, we are picking up a distress signal, his communications officer reported. Source? It is a Velthari colony. They are under attack by pirates, the Nathrek raiders from the sound of it. Minho felt his jaw tighten. The Velthari were the ones who had led the vote to banish humanity. But he also remembered individual Velthari who had voted against the banishment. Good people who had tried to help. How far are we from their position? 2 hours at maximum speed. And our orders? The officer hesitated. Protocol silence. No contact with any alien species under any circumstances. Minho walked to the viewport. Out there, people were dying. People who might have families, children, dreams, but his orders were clear. Humanity was supposed to be invisible now. One act of help could reveal their presence, could reveal how far they had spread. Admiral, the officer prompted. Maintain course, Minho said, the words tasting bitter. We do not break protocol. He watched the distress signal fade as they moved away. It was the hardest decision he had made in his life. One day, he said quietly to himself, we will be strong enough that helping others won't be a risk. It will be expected. But today is not that day. On the planet Aegis Prime, Governor Jiwoo Song walked through the central market of New Busan Colony. Around her, 50,000 humans were building a new life. The architecture mixed Korean traditional designs with modern efficiency. Buildings rose toward an alien sky that was slowly turning blue. Jiwoo was young for a governor, only 35. But she had proven herself as a leader during the exodus. She had kept people calm when fear tried to take hold. She had made hard decisions when others hesitated. A man approached her. He ran one of the mining operations. Governor, the latest shipment of minerals is ready. The automated freighters will transport it to the processing station near the asteroid belt. How much? She asked. Enough raw materials to build 10 more ships. And that is just from one mine. We have 15 operating now. Jiwoo nodded. The aliens had declared these worlds worthless. They were wrong. Humanity had found ways to extract resources that alien technology could not touch. In her office later, she met with Dr. Yuna Han, the colony's xenobiologist. Yuna was excited about something. Governor, I need to show you something incredible, Yuna said. She pulled up a microscope image. This is human gut bacteria, normal bacteria that we all carry. I know what gut bacteria is, Jiwoo said patiently. Yes, but look what happens when we introduce it to the soil of dead worlds. Yuna showed another image. The bacteria breaks down toxic compounds that poison these planets. Compounds that make them uninhabitable for every other known species. Jiwoo leaned forward. You are telling me that our bacteria can clean dead worlds? Not just clean them. Transform them. We can make gardens from wastelands. And we are the only species in the galaxy that can do it. The implications hit Jiwoo like a thunderbolt. The Council banished us from their territories. But they never claimed the dead worlds. There are thousands of them, exactly. We could have more planets than the entire Galactic Council combined. Jiwoo sat back in her chair. The irony was almost funny. Almost. The aliens thought they were limiting us, she said. Instead, they gave us 60% of the galaxy. Far from any known civilization, Captain Taehyung Yoon piloted the Silent Wind through uncharted space. His was a reconnaissance vessel, designed to be invisible to alien sensors. For 2 years, he had been mapping new systems, finding resources, identifying planets, all in complete silence. Today, he found something different. Captain, I am detecting a derelict structure ahead, his science officer reported. On the screen appeared the ruins of an ancient space station. It was unlike anything in the known database. Scan it thoroughly, Taehyung ordered. As they examined the structure, they found something remarkable. Technology that was thousands of years old, but more advanced than anything the current galactic civilizations possessed. It is a jump gate, the science officer said in wonder. But the design is completely different from what we know. If we could understand it, we could travel 10 times faster than current FTL drives. Taehyung smiled. Mark this location as classified. Priority Alpha. We are bringing scientists here immediately. This was humanity's advantage. While the Galactic Council focused on their established territories, humans were exploring the forgotten corners of space. And they were finding treasures. Back on Earth, in the buried command center, Hyunjae reviewed reports from all the colonies. New Busan was thriving. Aegis Prime was exceeding production goals. Genesis Station was becoming a scientific hub. Hope's Landing had discovered rare elements worth fortunes. But the most important report came from Sun Ho Kang, the director of the Contact Protocol Division. Director, We have successfully monitored all major alien communications for the past decade. They believe we have gone silent because we are weak, because we are ashamed. Some think we destroyed ourselves. Good, Hyunjae said. Let them think that. What about our own communications? Completely secure. Not a single transmission has been intercepted. As far as the galaxy knows, humanity has vanished. Hyunjae pulled up a master map. It showed 200 human colonies, 15 major industrial stations, and countless mining operations. Ships moved between them on secret routes, invisible to alien detection. We have become ghosts, Sunho continued. But we are not just hiding. We are learning. Every alien species we have studied them, their technology, their weaknesses, their fears. Knowledge is power, Hyunjae agreed. And when we finally reveal ourselves again, we will do it from a position of strength, not desperation. An alert chimed. Hyunjae looked at the screen and saw something interesting. A Feldorian science vessel had stumbled near one of their mining operations near the Void Nebula. What do we do? Sunho asked. Hyunjae thought for a moment. The protocol was clear. Avoid all contact. But maybe it was time to test something. Time to send a message. Contact Captain Taehyung. Have him intercept that ship, but do not destroy it. Offer them a choice. What choice? They can turn back and forget what they saw. Or they can stay and learn the truth. Let us see what they choose. Sunho looked uncertain. If they choose to stay and then tell the Council, then the Council learns that humanity is not gone, that we are stronger than ever, that their banishment was the biggest mistake in galactic history. Hyunjae's eyes were cold. Either way, the silence cannot last forever. Perhaps it is time to start showing the galaxy what they created when they pushed us away. The 10 years of exile had changed humanity. They were no longer begging for acceptance. They were no longer trying to fit in. They had found something better than acceptance. They had found independence. And they were building an empire in the darkness, one that would emerge when the time was right. The galaxy had voted to banish Earth. Humanity had used that time wisely. Now they were ready for whatever came next. 25 years after the banishment, the Galactic Council gathered for their quarterly assembly. The chamber was the same as always. Crystal walls that changed color with the mood of the discussion. 847 species represented. Today the crystal glowed a calm blue. This was a routine meeting, or so they thought. The arbiter floated to its position. We now review the status of all banished civilizations. As per protocol, we begin with humanity. A holographic display appeared in the center of the chamber. It showed the Sol system, Earth's sun, its planet's complete silence. No signals, no ships, no activity. For 25 years, humanity has maintained complete communication silence, a Velthari representative reported. Our long-range sensors detect minimal activity in the Sol system. Some basic orbital structures, nothing more. A Krathor delegate clicked its mandibles. As we predicted, humans could not survive without galactic trade. They have likely regressed to a pre-spaceflight civilization. Others murmured agreement. Some felt satisfaction. A few felt something that might have been guilt. The matter is settled then, the arbiter announced. Humanity's banishment remains in effect. They are no longer a concern. The discussion moved on to other topics: trade disputes, border negotiations, resource allocation. Normal galactic business. None of them knew the truth. None of them suspected that at that very moment, 200 human colonies were thriving in systems they had never explored. That human ships were moving through space lanes they did not know existed. The galaxy believed humanity had disappeared. They were about to learn how wrong they were. Captain Taehyung Yoon sat in his captain's chair aboard the Silent Wind. His ship hung in space near the Void Nebula, a region so dense with radiation that most species avoided it completely. But humans had learned to use it. The radiation that blocked alien sensors gave them perfect cover for mining operations. Captain, we have detected a vessel approaching our mining station, his tactical officer reported. It is a Feldorian science ship. Small crew. Appears to be conducting research on the nebula. Taehyung watched the alien vessel on his screen. It was moving slowly, taking readings. Any moment now they would detect the mining station. They have changed course, the officer said. They are heading directly toward our station. They have seen it. Intercept them before they can transmit, Taehyung ordered. Use the jamming field. The Silent Wind moved quickly. It was designed for speed and stealth. Within minutes, they had positioned themselves between the Feldorian ship and any route out of the nebula. The alien vessel stopped. They knew they were trapped. Taehyung opened a communication channel. His face appeared on the Feldorian ship's screen. The Feldorian captain was named Varath. She had blue skin and large eyes that showed clear surprise. Humans were supposed to be gone, disappeared. Yet here was a human ship, modern and powerful. "This is Captain Taehyung Yoon of the human vessel Silent Wind," he said calmly. "You have two choices, Captain. You can turn your ship around right now, forget what you saw here, and continue your research elsewhere, or you can stay, and we will show you the truth about what humanity has become." Varath's crew talked rapidly in the background. Taehyung could not understand their language, but he recognized fear when he saw it. "If we stay," Varath finally said, "what guarantee do we have that you will not harm us?" "If we wanted to harm you, you would already be dead," Taehyung replied simply. "We are offering you knowledge. The question is whether you want it." Varath looked at her crew. They seemed uncertain. Finally she spoke. "We will stay. We wish to know the truth." "Follow us," Taehyung said, "and prepare to be amazed." The Silent Wind led the Feldorian ship deeper into the nebula. What Varath saw there changed everything she thought she knew about humanity. The mining station was enormous, 10 times larger than anything she expected. Automated systems pulled resources from the nebula itself, materials that her species' technology could not even detect, but that was just the beginning. As they emerged from the nebula, Varath saw something that made her gasp. A human colony, a full colony on a planet her people had surveyed a century ago and declared completely dead. "That world is toxic," she said in shock. "Nothing can live there. We confirmed it ourselves." "Nothing could live there," Taehyung corrected. "We made it live." "Look closer." The planet's surface showed green, water, cities, thousands of humans living and working. "How?" Varath whispered. "We learned that what your species sees as poison, we can transform into gardens. The bacteria in our bodies, combined with our terraforming technology, can clean worlds you thought were forever dead." Taehyung brought the Feldorian ship to Aegis Prime, the largest human colony. Governor Jiwoo Song met them at the orbital station. Jiwoo was confident and calm. She showed no fear of these aliens. Why would she? This was human territory now. "Welcome to Aegis Prime, Captain Varath," Jiwoo said. "You are the first outsider to see what humanity has built in our exile." "This is impossible," Varath said, looking at the readouts. "This colony has over 2 million people. Your ships, your technology, it is all more advanced than when you left galactic space. More advanced than when we were allowed in galactic space." Jiwoo corrected. "We spent 15 years trying to fit in with you. We spent 25 years surpassing you." Jiwoo took Varath on a tour. They saw factories producing advanced materials, shipyards building vessels that made alien designs look ancient, research facilities where scientists from 200 colonies shared discoveries. In the government building, Sunho Kang waited. He was the director of contact protocol, the man responsible for humanity's silence. "Captain Varath," Sunho said, "your council feared our violence. They did not understand that our greatest strength is not our capacity for war. It is our capacity for adaptation, for survival, for thriving despite opposition." He pulled up a holographic map. It showed the galaxy. The council territories glowed blue, but surrounding them, in regions the council had never bothered to explore, red dots appeared. Hundreds of them. Each red dot is a human colony, mining station, or research facility, Sunho explained. "We have been silent, yes, but we have not been idle." Varath's eyes grew wider with each new revelation. "The council believes you are broken, defeated. They think you have regressed to savagery." "Good," Sunho said simply. "Let them think that. Let them feel safe in their ignorance. But why show me this? Why reveal yourselves now?" Jiwoo stepped forward. "Because the silence cannot last forever. Eventually we will need to interact with the galaxy again. When that happens, it will be on our terms, not theirs. Your council cast us out because they feared what we might become," Sunho added. "They were right to fear it, but wrong to think exile would stop it. They gave us freedom. Freedom to grow beyond their understanding." Varath was quiet for a long moment. "What do you want from me?" "A choice," Sunho said. "You can return to the council and tell them nothing. Continue their comfortable ignorance. Or you can tell them everything. Show them what their fear has created. If I tell them, they will panic. They will prepare for war. Yes, Jiwoo agreed. They will. And they will still lose. Because while they have been comfortable, we have been preparing. We have studied every species in the council. We know your strengths. More importantly, we know your weaknesses. Taehyung spoke up. We do not want war, Captain. We just want the galaxy to know that humanity cannot be erased, cannot be contained, cannot be controlled. Verath looked at each of them. These humans were nothing like the desperate species that had been banished 25 years ago. They were confident, powerful, dangerous. I will tell the council, she decided. They need to know. They need to understand what they have done. Then you understand the consequences, Sunho said. Once you tell them, everything changes. I understand. But they deserve to face the truth, even if it terrifies them. As Verath prepared to leave, Jiwoo gave her one final message. Tell your council this. Humanity was banished because we were deemed too dangerous to coexist with galactic civilization. For 25 years we have proven them right. But not in the way they expected. What do you mean? We are dangerous. But not because we seek to harm others. We are dangerous because we will never again ask permission to exist. We will never again beg for acceptance. We will never again allow others to define our worth. Verath's ship departed Aegis Prime carrying knowledge that would shake the foundations of galactic power. As she flew back toward Council space, she kept looking at the data she had collected. 200 colonies. Advanced technology. Military capabilities that probably exceeded the Council's combined forces, and all of it built in secret right under their noses. The Council had voted to banish Earth 25 years ago. They thought they had eliminated a problem. Instead, they had created something far more powerful than they had ever feared. Humanity had not waited to be told twice. They had left. They had built. They had grown, and now the galaxy was about to learn that sometimes the worst thing you can do to a determined species is try to make them disappear, because when they come back, they will be impossible to ignore. The Galactic Council chamber had never been so chaotic. Species that normally maintained perfect composure were shouting. Others were broadcasting distress signals. The crystal walls flashed red, then purple, then colors that had no name. Captain Verath stood in the center of it all, her evidence displayed for everyone to see. Images of human colonies, data on their technology, maps showing their expansion into territories the Council had ignored. The Arbiter tried to restore order. Silence. We must approach this rationally. But there was no rationality left. Fear had taken over. A Krathor commander slammed its appendage on its platform. This is an act of war. They have violated the terms of their banishment. How? A Velthari delegate demanded. They were ordered to cease activity beyond their home system. But these colonies are in unclaimed space. Technically, they have broken no laws. Technically, the Krathor roared. They have built an empire in secret. They have deceived us. They have been silent. Another voice countered. We chose to interpret that silence as defeat. That was our mistake, not theirs. The argument raged on. Some demanded immediate military action. Others urged caution. A few quietly wondered if humanity deserved an apology. Then a new voice cut through the noise. It came from a holographic projection that appeared without permission. The Council's security systems had been bypassed. The figure was a young human man with sharp eyes and a calm expression. He wore a simple black uniform with no decorations. I am Seojin Park, Prime Representative of the Human Collective, he announced. I believe you have been discussing us. The chamber fell silent. The presence of a human, speaking directly to the Council without permission, was unprecedented. How did you breach our security? The Arbiter demanded. The same way we have been monitoring your communications for 25 years, Seojin replied smoothly. Your technology is impressive, but it has weaknesses. We found them all. The implications hit the Council like a physical blow. Humanity had been watching them, listening to them, learning from them. You have violated, a delegate began. Nothing, Seojin interrupted. You banished us from your territory. You told us to disappear. We complied. What we do beyond your borders is no longer your concern. You built an army, the Krathor commander accused. We built a civilization, Seojin corrected. We built homes, schools, research facilities. Yes, we also built defenses, because we learned from history that powerful neighbors who fear you are dangerous neighbors. The Arbiter's lights flickered with what might have been anger. The Council demands an explanation. You were supposed to retreat to Earth. Instead, you have expanded beyond anything we allowed. Seojin smiled. It was not a warm smile. You never asked us to stay on Earth. You told us to cease activity beyond our home system. We did. Sol system is quiet, as you observed. Everything else we built is in territory you abandoned. Territory you declared worthless. It was worthless. To you, Seojin agreed. Your technology could not use it. Your species could not survive there. But we could. We found value where you saw nothing. That is not our fault. A moderate Velthari delegate spoke up. What do you want, Representative? Why reveal yourselves now? Because silence was always temporary, Seojin explained. Eventually, our territories would expand enough to touch yours. When that happened, we wanted you to understand what you were dealing with, not the desperate species you banished, but the civilization that emerged from that banishment. Is this a threat? The Arbiter asked. It is a statement of fact. 25 years ago, you judged us unworthy of your society. You were wrong. You feared our potential. You were right to fear it. But you were wrong to think exile would eliminate it. The Krathor commander stood. Enough talk. The Krathor Empire will not tolerate this deception. We will mobilize our forces and eliminate these illegal colonies. You could try, Seojin said calmly. But I would advise against it. You dare. I dare because I know something you do not. Your fleet consists of 2,000 warships. Impressive by galactic standards. But we have been building too. And we have been learning from your mistakes. He gestured and new images appeared. Human warships. Sleek, powerful, and numerous. These are just the ships we are willing to show you, Seojin added. Attack us and you will discover we have more. Many more. The chamber erupted again. But this time, fear was winning over anger. Then Seojin said something that changed everything. However, we do not wish for war. We wish for something different. Something the Council has never offered us. Partnership, as equals. He pulled up another document. This is the new human accord. An alliance open to any species that wishes to trade, cooperate, and coexist with humanity. Outside Council authority. You cannot. We can, Seojin interrupted. And 13 of your member species have already expressed interest. Privately, of course. They are tired of the Council's bureaucracy. Tired of decisions made by fear instead of reason. They want something better. The Arbiter's lights dimmed. You would fracture the Council? The Council fractured itself when it chose exile over understanding. We are simply offering an alternative. Across the galaxy, Admiral Minho received orders he had been waiting 25 years to hear. Emerge from the shadows. Show the galaxy what humanity had become. His shadow fleet, hidden for so long, moved into position along the border of Council space. Not to attack, not to invade, simply to be seen. 200 warships appeared on Council sensors simultaneously, each one larger and more advanced than anything the aliens possessed. On the Council station, alarms blared. The sudden appearance of such a massive fleet caused panic. They are not advancing, a tactical officer reported. They are just there, establishing a perimeter. The message was clear. Humanity could strike if they wished. But they were choosing restraint. Seojin's hologram remained in the Council chamber. That fleet is commanded by Admiral Minho Choi, a good man who spent 10 years protecting your space from pirates and criminals. He remembers the faces of those he saved. He also remembers watching a Velthari colony burn because his orders forbade him from helping. A Velthari delegate's lights flickered with recognition. Humanity learned many lessons during our exile, Seojin continued. One of them is that power without restraint is tyranny. Another is that restraint without power is submission. We have found the balance. In another part of space, Commander Yunha Lim stood on the bridge of the Reckoning, humanity's first dreadnought. The ship was a marvel of engineering. It combined alien technology with human innovation, creating something that exceeded both. Commander, we are receiving the authorization codes, her tactical officer reported. We are cleared to demonstrate, Una nodded. Find me a suitable target. Something impressive but harmless. They identified a dead moon in neutral space. The Reckoning moved into position. Activate gravitational disruptors, Yuna ordered. The ship's main weapon powered up. It did not fire projectiles or energy beams. Instead, it manipulated gravity itself. The technology was derived from 3 different alien species research, combined and perfected by human scientists. The dead moon shuddered. Then slowly it began to compress. Within minutes, it had been reduced to a quarter of its original size. The excess matter was converted to energy and dispersed harmlessly. The demonstration was broadcast to the council. The message was clear. Humanity could reshape reality itself. Back in the council chamber, Seojin watched their reactions. That weapon has never been used against a living target. We hope it never will be, but you needed to see what we are capable of. This is madness, a delegate whispered. No, Seojin said. This is evolution. You tried to contain us. Instead, you forced us to become something greater. Something you could never have controlled anyway. A new voice spoke up. It was an elderly Velthari, one who had voted against the banishment years ago. What do you truly want from us, young human? Seojin's expression softened slightly. Respect, cooperation, a chance to prove that humanity and the galactic community can coexist as partners, not as subjects and rulers. The new human accord offers that chance, and if we refuse, then we continue as we have been. Separate but present, growing in our territories while you remain in yours. Eventually our expansion will make conflict inevitable, but it does not have to be that way. The Krathor commander was not satisfied. The Krathor Empire does not negotiate with those who show disrespect to the council. Then the Krathor Empire will learn an expensive lesson, Seojin replied. We do not seek your destruction, but we will not tolerate aggression. Choose wisely. With those words, Seojin's hologram vanished. The council was left in chaos, facing a choice they never expected to make. Humanity had returned, not as the desperate species they had banished, but as a force they could no longer ignore, a force that demanded to be treated as equals. The galaxy was changing, and this time humanity would help write the new rules. The Krathor Empire refused to listen. Their pride would not allow them to accept that humanity had become powerful. 3 weeks after the council meeting, they mobilized their full military force. 2,000 warships gathered at the edge of their territory. It was the largest military deployment in a century. Their target was Aegis Prime, the human colony that Governor Jiwoo had built into a thriving world. The Krathor Emperor believed it would be an easy victory. Show humanity their place. Force them to submit. Remind the galaxy that the Krathor were still the dominant military power. He was about to learn how wrong he was. Governor Jiwoo stood in her command center, watching the approaching fleet on her displays. Around her, her military advisors waited for orders. They will arrive in 6 hours, her tactical officer reported. Should we evacuate the colony? Jiwoo shook her head. No, we do not run from our homes. We defend them. Governor, even with our defenses, 2,000 ships will not be enough, Jiwoo finished. Trust the plan. Trust what we have built. She opened a comm channel to the entire colony. People of New Busan, people of Aegis Prime. 25 years ago, we came here with nothing but hope and determination. We built this world from poison and death. We created life where none existed. Today, someone wants to take that from us. I say no. We will show them what happens when you threaten a human home. Across the colony, people prepared. Not in panic, but with purpose. This was what they had trained for. What they had prepared for. The Krathor fleet arrived in a massive formation. Their ships were intimidating, covered in weapons and armor. They moved with confidence. Then they saw what was waiting for them. Aegis Prime was not a helpless colony. Orbital defense platforms surrounded the planet. Each one was 3 times larger than the Krathor expected. Energy shields flickered to life, creating a protective shell around the world. But the real surprise came from space itself. Thousands of small objects suddenly activated around the Krathor fleet. They had been there all along, hidden, waiting. Drone fighters, each one controlled by advanced AI, working in perfect coordination. The Krathor opened fire. Their weapons struck the drones, destroying hundreds, but thousands more remained. And they moved faster than any piloted ship could. Commander Yoonha Lim watched from the reckoning, positioned behind the Krathor fleet. Her ship was cloaked, invisible to their sensors. They are fighting the drones, her tactical officer reported. Their formation is breaking apart. Good, Yoonha said. They are learning that numbers mean nothing against superior tactics. Now show them what real power looks like. Activate the disruptors. The reckoning decloaked directly behind the Krathor command ship. Before they could react, the gravitational disruptors activated. Every Krathor ship in range suddenly lost power. Their engines stopped. Their weapons went dark. Their shields collapsed. The ships drifted helplessly in space, not destroyed, not damaged, just disabled. The Krathor crews were unharmed. They just could not fight. Yuna opened a channel to the Krathor admiral. "This is Commander Yuna Lim of the human dreadnought Reckoning. Your fleet is now helpless. We could destroy every ship, but we will not. This is not about destruction. This is about teaching you a lesson." The Krathor admiral's face appeared on the screen, showing shock and rage. We dare because we can," Yuna interrupted. "Your empire sent 2,000 ships to destroy one human colony. You believed your numbers would win. You were wrong. We disabled your entire fleet without firing a single lethal shot." On Aegis Prime, Jiwoo watched the battle end almost before it began. 6 hours of preparation, 6 minutes of actual combat, complete victory without a single casualty on either side. She opened a channel to the galaxy. This broadcast would reach every species, every world. "This is Governor Jiwoo's song of Aegis Prime. Today the Krathor Empire attacked our home. They came with 2,000 warships, believing we were weak. They were wrong. We defended ourselves, we won, and we did it without killing a single enemy soldier." She paused, letting that sink in. "Let this be a lesson to all who watch. Humanity does not seek war, but we will not accept aggression. We have the power to destroy our enemies. We choose instead to show mercy. Because true strength is not just about winning, it is about choosing not to fight unless we must." In the Galactic Council chamber, the broadcast played for all to see. The Krathor, the most aggressive military power in the galaxy, had been defeated in minutes. Without casualties, without destruction. It was humiliating for the Krathor, but it was terrifying for everyone else. If humanity could do that to the Krathor, what could they do to the rest of them? Seogen Park appeared in the council chamber again, his hologram calm and composed. "The Krathor Empire attacked our colony. We defended it. Now we wait for their response. Will they choose escalation? Or will they choose wisdom?" The Krathor ambassador stood slowly. He looked defeated. "What are your terms?" "Simple," Seogen replied. "Your fleet will be released unharmed. Your soldiers will return home safely. In exchange, the Krathor Empire will acknowledge that humanity has the right to exist and expand in unclaimed territories. You will cease all hostile actions against human interests. And if we refuse, then the next time we will not be so merciful. The choice is yours." The Krathor ambassador looked at his colleagues, at the council, at the images of his disabled fleet. Then he bowed his head. "The Krathor Empire accepts your terms." Over the next weeks, something remarkable happened. 13 species formally withdrew from the Galactic Council and joined the new Human Accord. Others remained in the council but opened diplomatic relations with humanity. The galaxy was changing. The old order, held together by fear and tradition, was fracturing. A new order was emerging, one based on cooperation and respect. In New Seoul, deep beneath the surface of Earth, Director Hyun-jae Kwon sat in his office. He was very old now, almost 90, but he had lived to see this day. Ji-hoon Kim, the former ambassador who had stood before the council 45 years ago, sat across from him. Ji-hoon was old too, his hair white, his face lined with age. "We did it," Hyun-jae said quietly. "We survived. We thrived. We won, did we?" Ji-hoon asked. "Or did we just prove them right? That we are dangerous. That we are violent. We proved we are capable," Hyun-jae corrected. "There is a difference. Violence is a tool. We chose not to use it unless we had to. That is what they never understood about us." Ji-hoon nodded slowly. "What happens now?" "Now we build something better. The new Human Accord is not just about us. It is about creating a galactic community where species work together as equals, where fear does not drive decisions, where everyone has a voice. Will it work? I do not know," Hyun-jae admitted. "But we have to try. The old council was built on hierarchy and fear. We can do better." On Aegis Prime, Daeun Lee's granddaughter activated the 500th human colony. This one was different. It was not just a human settlement. 3 alien species had joined them, working together to build something new. The planet's name was Unity. It was symbolic. Daeun herself was there, very old, but still sharp. She watched her granddaughter, a brilliant engineer in her own right, activate the final terraforming systems. "We are making it better than Earth," the young woman said. "Cleaner air, richer soil, Perfect climate. Good, Daon said. Every generation should build something better than the last. That is progress. Grandmother, do you think the aliens will ever truly accept us? Daon smiled. Some already have. Others will in time. And those who cannot? They will become irrelevant. The galaxy is too big for old grudges. Seojin stood before what remained of the Galactic Council. Only half the original species were still members. The rest had joined the Accord or declared neutrality. I have a proposal, he announced. The Galactic Council and the new Human Accord should merge. Create a new governing body, the Galactic Accord of Free Civilizations. Every species gets an equal vote. Decisions are made by cooperation, not by fear. The Arbiter, still leading the Council, was quiet for a long moment. And if we refuse, then we continue separately. 2 powers in the galaxy instead of 1. It would be inefficient, but we would manage. A Velthari delegate who had known Jihoon years ago spoke up. Why do you want this? You have proven your strength. You could simply take control. Because that would make us exactly what you feared. Seojin replied. Conquerors, tyrants, we do not want to rule. We want to participate. As equals, the vote took hours. But finally it came. 300 species voted yes. 100 voted no. 50 abstained. The Galactic Council, as it had existed for thousands of years, dissolved. In its place rose the Galactic Accord of Free Civilizations. Humanity's banishment had ended. Not with submission, not with conquest, but with transformation. The galaxy had voted to banish Earth 45 years ago. Humanity had not waited to be told twice. They had left. They had built. They had grown. And they had returned as something the galaxy had never seen before. A species that could be fierce without being cruel, strong without being tyrannical, ambitious without being destructive. Seojin stood in the new Accord chamber, looking at representatives from hundreds of species. Some had once voted to banish humanity. Now they sat as equals. 50 years ago, he said, you judged us unworthy. You were wrong. You fear,